LSU and Texas A&M, but only one has remained.
This is a lot of football to be played here in the month of November. But as we say around here, the games in November are the ones you remember. Our first goal is to go win an SEC championship. And that's what we're striving for.
That's why we come to Texas. As a little kid, you live to play in these type of games in this atmosphere. They're going to be loud, they're going to be rowdy, they're going to be energetic.
It's going to be a dogfight, four-quarter game.
We have to play physical and we have to execute. Trust in the culture that we've developed.
There's a standard, and that's the way we're playing today, man.
Hey everybody, what's going on? Hey Derek, how are you, man?
What's up, man?
Man, yesterday was a crazy day for me. I don't know.
That's what I was just fixing to say.
Crazy day for me. But hey, I've already recovered and we are back. I had a boo-boo. I messed up and I semi-flooded my house. And here we are. But we have
What's up, Brandon?
And the only thing that happened was so far that I have endeavored is a messed up monitor cord on one of my monitors. So that's it. So
that's a blessing, then, man.
I mean, out of everything else that could have happened, yeah. But I'll tell you something else. Screw the local water company because they buried my shutoff valve in the ground in my front yard, and that's why I semi-flooded is because I couldn't find it. It was not above ground like most are. Mine was below ground in the middle of my front yard, actually not out by the street like they usually are. So, but here
who's the water company?
Oh, just Union Grove. I mean, of course.
Union Grove.
Yeah, and of course, they're not there on a Sunday, so it's not like I could call them and be like, "Hey, where's my water meter at?" Even though y'all come and read it every month, but here we are. We've recovered, and we are back today. So I'm glad we were able to do the show today. Day behind, but hey, we're here.
Yeah, it's gonna be four straight days of Tired Sports now. Instead of a Sunday then a break, you get us four straight days.
Yeah, today, tomorrow, Wednesday, and Thursday,
Thursday, yeah,
and then back Sunday.
Then back Sunday, yeah.
Yeah, so excited about that. So before we jump into some college stuff, I'm going to run our main ad for the night, and then we will get going.
At Hoswell Customs, we do custom apparel using embroidery, DTF full color graphics, engraved leather patches, and supply full lines of promotional products like engraved tumblers, notepads, pins, and so much more. Y'all should go check it out.
All right, Derek. So I know this game is currently going on, but I wanted to kind of briefly talk about it. I'm actually surprised at the score right now at the halftime. I mean, I know North Dakota State is like they're almost there every year, or a Dakota team is there. It seems
So,
like every
so I'm glad you said that. That was literally what I was pulling up during the ad.
like,
So just listen. Last year's champion, South Dakota State. 2022's champion, South Dakota State. 2021's champion, North Dakota State. Then you had Sam Houston, who beat South Dakota State. 2019, North Dakota State. 2018, North Dakota State. 2017, North Dakota State. 2015, 14, 13, 12, and 11, North Dakota State. So they've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 of the last 12 they won, and one of them they came in second.
yeah, I'm really shocked that I'm not shocked by the outcome. I'm shocked at the score right now. Montana State has looked really good all year long. Like they really have. They were actually favored in the game, which is insane considering what North Dakota State has done over the last, 12 years. Nine out of the 12 they've won, which is absolutely insane. And then on the other side of it, like outside of Sam Houston, South Dakota, so a Dakota team has won it, and then out of the last 11 years.
11
right?
years, yeah.
Yep. So,
and both of them were in it 2 years ago. They played each other.
I'm not shocked.
So Montana was in it last year, and they lost to South Dakota State 23-3. So they've got the 3 points that they had last year. Maybe they just don't perform well. Oh, that's Montana State. I'm sorry. That's State, not just Montana. That's Montana State.
Well, I'll tell you this. The quarterback I'm going to tell you something. North Dakota State always produces, like, decent, quarterback because Carson Wentz was there.
Trey
Lance. But if you look at this quarterback right now, I'm going to tell you his stats right now. He is 10 for 11 for 92 yards, 11 carries, 108 yards, and 2 touchdowns. That's his stats. We're at halftime.
Yep.
This looks like Bryson Daly 2.0.
Bryson Daly. That's exactly what I was thinking.
But can throw obviously better because, well, he's 10 for 11 and he almost has 100 yards. So, I mean, like, that's not, nothing crazy. But I thought Montana State was going to win this.
Put up a better fight, yeah.
I honestly thought they were going to win by a slight margin, like a 3-point-ish game. So I'm kind of shocked that they're only at 3 points and they're down 17.
Do you know where this game is taking place at?
Yeah, it's at the Frisco Stadium.
It's at the Star.
Yeah, it's at the Star. Yeah. So, man, I would next year when this happens,
I was thinking the same thing.
I think I don't know if this is played there every year. I know that
every year.
So every year it's been open because I know it's kind of new-ish, not like new, but it's new-ish because it's the practice field for Dallas.
Yep.
Right?
Ever since it's been open.
Next year, let's look into some tickets for this game. Obviously I've only been to one college game, which we just went to, but I would love to get some seats and go watch a championship game. It'd be a lot of fun. So next year, let's look into that. But yeah, I mean, I just wanted to kind of update this. I know we were supposed to talk about it yesterday and talk about things, but the game is going on currently, so here we are. So it's a 21-3 halftime, and unless Montana State gets it together, it's not looking very good for them. And here we go, a Dakota State team taking it home again. This would be number 10 for them, correct? In 13 years.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah. Yeah.
Is that it?
Are they better than Bama?
I mean, well, okay. I would say they are the Alabama of the FCS.
Of the FCS, yes. 100%.
I'm trying to think of a team in the FBS that did anything like this, and I think Bama is the closest we can get to that I can think of. I'm trying to go back.
If you want to do just football, then yeah, it'd be Bama. But if you want to go to the basketball side, you've got to look at UCLA.
Oh no, UCLA. I mean, yeah, UCLA. Back in the day, UCLA.
Back in the day, I think they went from Kareem straight into Bill Russell and.
Do you think?
Bill Walton.
I got a question. Does North Dakota ever make the jump? Or are they too successful in the FCS?
I think they're in talks to making the jump. I think North Dakota State, South Dakota State. What was the other one? There was one more. I forgot who it was, but going to the Mountain West because a lot of the Mountain West teams are in talks to go revamp the Pac-12.
That's right.
And so and so this whole cross country thing with these conferences, man, I don't like it at all because the top 2 or 3 of the top teams that are talked about going to the Pac-12 is Tulane, Texas State, and Memphis. Like that does not need to be. Stanford needs to go back. Cal needs to go back. Then you have Washington State, Oregon State. You need to stay that way when you're talking Pac-12. Now I can see Memphis going to the ACC because that's a closer trek.
Texas State being in that would be insane. The amount of traveling they would have.
Exactly.
I'm trying to think of a conference Texas State would work in that would be like
the AAC, I think it's what it's called.
I mean, the one they're in now is actually like pretty good for them, but I think that they're wanting to get in a more, I would say, difficult, like better competition. Maybe is the word I should use, which is not surprising coming from G.J. Kinney in that school. They had a decent year this year. They won, which I think we're going to talk about here in a second. But they've got to keep it reasonable.
They're in Conference USA, aren't they?
They are Sun Belt.
No,
Texas Sun Belt. I'm pretty sure. I could be wrong. Correct.
They're in Sun Belt. Louisiana Monroe, Troy, which is in Bama, Southern Miss.
That's what I'm saying. They're right there in the. They're not having to travel into the West Coast up north. Is what I'm saying.
I'm gonna throw a little prediction out here, man. You give G.J. Kinney 2 to 3 solid years, I think they could make the jump to Big 12.
I could see that. Look at. I watched the game. They
do look good. And TCU started out in Mountain West. SMU started off Conference USA at one point.
And I'll tell you something, man. Texas State was beating Arizona State, the team that almost just beat Texas.
Yeah,
they were beating them 28-0, and they lost, but that was because of Scatterboo.
Yeah,
they were beating Arizona State 28-0. So they're a very competitive team. Obviously, we talk about Texas State a lot. We've had guests on. We love GJ. It's like becoming like our second favorite team together. I
agree.
There's a lot of teams we're liking outside of just that, but like they're like becoming like a team we actually keep up with and stuff. Oh, awesome, man. Hey, man, thanks for joining us from New York, man. That's awesome.
Yeah, what's up, Rocky, man? How you doing?
Yeah, man. How are you, man? Like FCS FCS to me is almost like the WNBA in a sense. Like they're there, but they're kind of behind the FBS. Of course they are.
Yeah, they're like a forgotten until you have the championship game, until you play the Colorado or you play a team in the FBS that you're compatible with because the South Dakota Colorado game was good. It was a really good game. Colorado got saved by an underthrown ball that was called for pass interference.
Yeah, look what that is actually a great example, Derek, is they were very, very, very competitive in that game, and they arguably could have won that game.
Yeah.
And I see them making the jump.
Patriot League, played for Fordham. Oh, that's awesome, man.
Yeah, that's awesome. Like, the only reason we haven't covered a lot of FCS is because, of course, we're going to cover mostly FBS. But like, me and Derek were like, we have to talk about this game because, well, for one, it's a championship game, and it is football. If we had a podcast every day, I promise you, we would be covered FCS just as well as FBS and everything.
Sure.
And we'd be covering Division I, Division II, Division III, and so forth because there's a lot of good teams out there. There's just so much to cover. And unfortunately, the FBS is always going to take the number one spot. So
Yeah.
well, let's talk about some of these games that kind of recently happened. Again, I know we're kind of a day behind, but obviously, I mean, here's a Texas State game. McLeod went out on a banger. But I'm going to tell you something that was probably the most impressive thing was this quarterback from North Texas.
Yep.
He hadn't started a high school. He hadn't started a football game since he was in high school.
Ninth grade. In high
Potentially 14 to 15 years old, hadn't started a game, comes in. Yeah, he threw 2 picks, but he threw for almost 400 yards, and he was here leading rusher. I don't know if he's a senior or not. I'm going to assume probably.
He's a freshman.
Oh, so he's a freshman.
He's a freshman.
Well, the reason he didn't play because he was behind Morris, and we understand, well, because he was really good. Now he's off to Virginia.
Yeah, Virginia.
So North Texas has a quarterback in the future, man.
I believe I'm not 100% on this. I'd have to go back and do some looking. Either the DeSoto quarterback or the North Crowley quarterback is committed to UNT.
It's a North Crowley.
It's North Crowley. Okay, I knew it was one of them.
When we had Brandon on Reese from Longview, remember he's going there. He was North Crowley quarterback's going there.
That's right.
Because he, I think the speculation was Morris left because I guess
the Crowley kid
is going to come in and start. Yeah.
Speaking of Crowley, did you see the receiver got National Player of the Year?
I did see that.
That's pretty cool. 36 touchdowns in 16 games. Unbelievable. Unreal. As a 3-star. Just balled out this year. I mean,
I'm going to assume. I don't know how Dion pulled him. I don't know. I mean, obviously he must love something there because he could play anywhere in the country, in my opinion.
Yeah.
I mean, yeah, that dude is nuts. But Texas State, this was a back four game. It was a really good game. I mean, both teams played great. Like I said, McLeod was his last year, so he went out on top, which is great. They ended up 8-5, which I think they were about that last year. But they were one of those teams that had the opportunity with who else is in the Sun Belt? There was another Sun Belt team. I think it was Liberty. Is Liberty in the Sun Belt? I can't remember.
Let's see, Sun Belt. Who were we talking about? Texas State?
Who else is there? That's kind of big.
Marshall. Marshall won the Sun Belt Conference.
There was, in the beginning of the year, Texas State was one of those potential teams that could have made the playoffs, but they were thinking based off of what they did last year and coming to this year, taking it a step forward. And record-wise, I think they were about the same.
You had the Atlantic Athletic Conference, the AAC. You had Army, Tulane, and Navy.
Tulane was another one of those teams that
Tulane. Liberty is in Conference USA.
Oh, okay.
They were up there, but then they just completely tanked at the back end of the year.
Yeah, they fell off. But this was a great game, man. I mean, I'm glad Texas State won, of course. We're big fans. They go out, on a banger. But I think UNT has a quarterback for the future. I mean, again, for someone that hasn't started a football game since 14, 15 years old in high school, I'm not sure how he made it to North Texas. I don't know if he was a walk-on. I'm not sure how he did that, but kudos to him, man. He had a heck of a game. UNT has a quarterback for next year, potentially.
Yep.
Outside of the Crowley kid, maybe there's a little bit more competition there than what people think. They had this kid here. I thought he played great. I mean, again, for someone that had started football in 4 to 5 years and comes in and plays like that, that's phenomenal, man. Man, this Georgia Notre Dame game, what was probably the most impressive to me was Notre Dame's defense because offensively, I mean, Ryan Leonard didn't even throw for 100 yards. He ran for as much as he almost passed. He couldn't throw the ball very well. Gunnar Stockton played well.
Yes, he did.
I mean, they couldn't get the running game going. I mean, ETN, 38 yards, 11. I mean, I think Notre Dame's defense, just a little bit better. I don't know. I mean, if you look at the stats, it doesn't favor Notre Dame, but they pulled it out.
This is how I look at games. Now, I know it's a big part of the game. Your special teams, that's a big part of the game, right? I mean, we get that. You look at the Texas and the Texas A&M game. You don't take 6 points off of field goals. Now you're in a position at the end of the game. You don't have to score that touchdown. You're not down by that much. You take away the punt, the kickoff return for a touchdown.
Kickoff return, yeah.
Okay. Now we're sitting at a 7-point game. You take away the flag for the sideline interference, which was completely stupid. Like that is one of the dumbest rules.
Did they not give them a warning? Was it just an instant flag?
It was just instant flag. Yeah.
Usually a couple warnings for that. I was surprised about that.
And then I don't know how many balls the receivers dropped that would have put Georgia in amazing field position. So that's kind of how I look at every game that I watch. I look at if you take away the special teams part, because that's like a freebie. Like you don't ever expect to score touchdowns on special teams or block punts or stuff like that. You just don't expect it.
It's rare. It's rare to do that. It's very hard to do that. Surprisingly, it's harder to do that.
And like you said, what did the offense do versus the defense? Solid interior line.
Oh, sorry.
You're good.
I clicked it too.
Both sides never allowed to throw the ball. They used
They
did.
That's exactly what they did.
They
ran with Leonard and passed. He made a few passes when he needed to.
He's actually a sneaky good athlete. Leonard is.
You know who he reminds me of? He almost reminds me when I'm looking at the legs and the ability. He almost reminds me of an Arch Manning type quarterback. I'm not saying I'm not looking at the throw. I'm talking about with the legs. He's actually a little bit more athletic than what you think he is. And he actually ran the ball phenomenally. He did.
I hate when you look at scores like 23-10, and then you look at the stat. It's like this game was not a 23-10 game. This was not a blowout. I'm sorry, it shows that
the stats don't show the score. If that meant like this, it didn't.
Yeah, I mean the game was actually a good game.
It was.
You like I said, you take away the one, and now we're at a 1-score game, not a 13-point game. But it is what it is. I think we'll get to the rest of them later, but it's going to be a good weekend in football.
Yeah, and I think Gunnar Stockton is actually going to do well in Georgia. I do not know that they do better with Beck, injury or not. Gunnar Stockton, he didn't turn the ball over.
Let me touch on that right quick. Carson Beck is goofy for going to the NFL right now. He did not play well this year. He did not. I know he kind of came on at the back end of the year, but I always kind of like you. I always go back to that Texas game. He had 3 interceptions at the Texas game. You won, but your starting field position was the 35 of the opponent. So of course you're going to win a game like that. Did not look good. His best game was 212. Good time talent question to me. If it's early, can Leonard throw the ball downfield? That's a great question. That is a great question. I think you hit the nail on the head. Can Leonard lead you? And I don't know if he can. I don't know if I trust Leonard to win me a game. I think I trust Leonard to manage me a game. I think I trust Leonard to make maybe smart plays or something along those lines. But I don't know if this is reversed. If it's 23-10 midway through the third quarter, I don't know if Leonard is leading that comeback to win the game or not.
Yeah, I don't think I think the only game you could say he had to potentially win a game was the only one they lost. And really, if you look at the other game that was competitive they ran was against A&M. Neither quarterback played well.
Neither quarterback looked good that game.
It was a defensive game. So we really haven't seen if Leonard can, I don't know, I wouldn't say come back, but really just be the quarterback to win the game, because it seems like, again, like you said, 212 yards. I mean, that's. I mean, he's talented, but I don't know. We'll see though, because I mean, their defense is better than what I mean. Notre Dame always has a good defense.
I'm going to tell you, he's going to have to play well to beat Penn State because that Penn State front seven. I know we'll touch on it, but that Penn State front seven is something serious.
Well, it's which quarterback plays better in that game.
Yeah, that's what the game's going to get. 100.
I mean, because we know what we're going to get from the defenses. I think the defenses are going to be solid, but which quarterback can play well and not turn the ball over? And Drew Aller right now looks like to me the better quarterback right now. I've seen more better games from him, more consistency from him. And it comes down to coaching too in this game. Again, we always talk about Penn State, but I'm going to give kudos to Penn State coach. I can't think of his name off the top of my head. Franklin. I mean, he's won big games. We've got to give it to him. I mean, he's came in and still won games in the playoffs. I think if Josh was here, he would. I'm not saying he's surprised by it, but there were still big games. You had to win the game. How is he going to play against a Notre Dame team that really their best games were in the playoffs? Outside of the A&M and losing to Northern Illinois, their best games have been in the playoffs, and they did beat a Georgia team. The only thing I do want to talk about this Georgia thing is I do want to say another thing about Georgia. I do want to give my condolences to Kirby Smart's dad passed away in New Orleans. That was rough. I actually was reading an article about that, and him and his dad were really close. It was his high school coach. I mean that I'm not sure if he had anything to do with the whole thing that happened down there, but he died he died in New Orleans. That's just terrible. But I saw another thing that he posted about. He is saying that they should go back to the four teams because I guess the bye. I mean, we talked about the bye. The bye screwed every one of those teams because they all lost.
They all lost. But the reason that it is from the conference championship to their game is so long. That's kind of what I talked about when I said you take whoever plays in the conference championship game. Out of all 10 conferences, you take them 20 teams. Like you put every conference into divisions, and I don't care what your record is. You could be 5-5. But if you're 5-0 in your division, you're making the conference championship game. You're making the playoff. That's what you play for. And then the 10 losers, you take the highest seed of that. They host the playoff game against another conference, however you want to do the conferences. You do the 50, the 11th and the 20, the 12 and the 19, however you break it down. And then week after that, they go play straight into the playoffs. They go to the next 10. Then they just dwindle down. Get rid of the bowl games. I hate the bowl games. I hate the bowl game tie-ins. It's so dumb. Like, it's completely dumb the way that they do it because, like I said, we had a Big 12 bowl game. Nobody wants to see a Big 12 bowl game. Like, that could have been Miami, Colorado. That could have been South Carolina, Colorado. That could have been something. But, no, it's bowl tie-ins. It's dumb.
Yeah, I mean, Rocky, you hit it on the money. I mean, he hasn't been able to beat Ohio State or Michigan, and he's 3-17, which is not good. I think, in my opinion, so far what he has done in the playoffs, I think he secured himself. I'm not going to say another contract, but
another year,
at least another year. Because he has won, and again, their playoff games, he's winning, he's not losing. I'm
going to tell you who is a good up-and-coming coach, and I'm not going to say he would leave. Marcus Freeman for Notre Dame is a good coach.
He is better than I thought he was.
Did you see the video of Brian Kelly leaving Notre Dame and Marcus Smart coming in? Did you see that video?
I did not see that video.
So he kind of talks to the team, Brian Kelly does, about how he's leaving and that a new coach is going to step in because it was interim because I think they had a bowl game to play when he left. And you could kind of tell that it was heavy in there. Like you could kind of tell the field was heavy because he was letting them know he was leaving, wasn't going to be there. Marcus Freeman walks through that door, and that team erupted. So he had the team since day one. They bought in as soon as that door opened and they saw him. And I think you can tell now. Here we're sitting 2 years later, and he's in the college football Final Four semi. So kudos to him. I think he's a great coach. Like I said, I think he played at Notre Dame, so I don't know if he ever leaves. Let me see. I don't know if he ever leaves.
I know he played linebacker, but I don't know where he played at. I know he played linebacker somewhere, and it might have been Notre Dame. But I know he played linebacker wherever he played at.
Ohio State.
Ohio State. See, I knew it was a big team.
He might leave that for Ohio State if that popped up, but I don't know because he is so welcome at Notre Dame.
He's welcome, and he's had the locker room since day one. They buy into Marcus Freeman. They buy into what he's doing. And I will say again, and I think I know you're going to agree with me. This is the only knock we've had on them is they've got to get in a conference to really see what Notre Dame is.
Yeah,
that's it.
I agree because this is my thing. Does Notre Dame win the ACC? Do you think?
I think they're in the championship game against
somebody.
Yeah.
Does Notre Dame win the Big Ten?
Oof. I think that one's tougher. But
does Notre Dame win the SEC?
No. Dang it. I don't know. I mean,
I know they just beat Georgia, but I'm just saying going through the gauntlet.
They could compete for it, of course. But I think if there's a conference that I think they would succeed in, I think you got to look at the ACC.
It'd be the Big 12 or the Pac-12.
Big 12. I mean, if they go back to the Pac-12. I mean, or they go to the Pac. I mean, those. But see, at the same time, the Pac-12 wouldn't be good for them. They'd run through that. I think.
I
do there. I
mean, depending on who is in there, yeah. But I'm talking about like the old school Pac-12, the USC, the Colorado last year, the Washington State, Oregon State. They're not sitting at 13-1. I'm sorry, they're not, and so they're almost in the playoff by default.
I think if they were in the old Pac-12, I think they could compete for it. I don't know if they'd win it, but
probably now. I mean, now I think those teams. You're looking at Oregon's probably the toughest opponent in the Pac-12, the old Pac-12 now.
Yeah. I would agree. They're definitely the toughest in that.
But, I mean, you look at all these other teams, Georgia, Alabama, Texas, Ole Miss, Florida. Like, they're playing team after team after team. South Carolina. They're not playing Northern Illinois. I mean, yeah, they do have some scrubs in there, but it's because they get beat up every other week in the conference.
Yeah, I agree, man. I think
I'm done with that rant.
I want to see him in the conference championship. By the way, score update: North Dakota State 21, Montana State 10. So they have
coming back.
Couple ball games. I wanted to throw up here. Minnesota beats Virginia Tech. Virginia Tech just never could get going.
No,
the entire game. Minnesota State played well enough to win. I mean, their defense was pretty good. Minnesota actually. They almost beat Penn State, if I'm correct, or was it Ohio State? I can't remember who it was. So they've been kind of competitive this year, and Virginia Tech just never could get going. I mean, that was really it. Minnesota just really controlled from the jump, and they ended up 8-5. And I'm gonna tell you what, if I'm playing in the Duke Mayo Bowl, I'm losing because I do not want mayonnaise on me. By the way.
Crap, no. Yeah.
That was the most disgusting thing I've ever seen. I don't even know. I saw the video, and the guy just sat there, and that coach just took it. And I'm like, I hate mayonnaise. I don't want that on me. Could you imagine having to get that off of you after that? No, just no. if I'm Virginia Tech's coach, like, yeah, you want to win, but at the same time, it's like, dude, he had mayonnaise. I mean, I'm good. Ole Miss, Jackson Dart, heck of a game. I mean,
Heck of a game.
he
heck
went out
of a
on a bang without Duke having yeah.
Penn State, yeah.
Yeah, it was Penn State. See, that's what I thought. Yeah, so I mean, Minnesota was they had some competitive games again against Penn State. But back to this Duke game. I thought it was going to be it was bad, but I thought it was going to be really bad because Malik Murphy obviously is leaving. So I honestly don't know who this quarterback is.
Where did he go? Do we remember?
Malik Murphy is going to. It's right there. I can't pinpoint where he's going, but I'm curious why he's leaving.
Oregon State.
Oh, God, well, they'll win the they'll win the Pac-12 if it stays the same. Not that it matters, but there's only 2 teams in it right now, so you really can't. It's hard to lose that.
Yeah.
But I mean, this quarterback stepped in and played well. They couldn't get no run game going, but I mean, yeah.
He came from Texas.
If Texas never gets the studs, Malik Murphy would have started. I mean, he has a heck of an arm. Oh, dude has a cannon. I've seen him throw a ball like outside of a game, and the dude could throw.
I want to say there's a video. He throws it 70 flat-footed.
Yeah, he can. Man,
I think. Yeah, he's up there with Joe Milton, dude. Joe Milton for the Patriots can swing it.
Yeah. And so, I mean, Ole Miss dominated this game. As expected.
Jackson Dart helped his draft stock right here. I think Jackson Dart's a good quarterback. I thought he was a good quarterback all year long. He's had some up and downs, but I mean, everybody has. I think he's a great quarterback. I think he is somebody that could go somewhere and sit for a year and come in and play at a high level. I think he would be – I'll tell you where I think he'd be really good at. I think he'd be really good in, say, like a Miami or a Seattle because you don't know how much Tua has left in him. He gets banged up a lot. I know he's under contract. Him and Waddle, depending on what they get in the draft, how they work the draft, what they get for Tyreek Hill. Because, you know, he wants out.
I would love to see him in Seattle for some reason.
I think that would be a great fit. I mean, I think that would be awesome.
But playing him behind Geno would give
just
him
for a year, or just like what they did with Penix.
Exactly. Like Geno Smith, he had great numbers. His touchdown to interception ratio wasn't very good, but like he had like good passing yards. But I mean, again, their offensive line is a trash.
I tell you, I got you. The perfect fit for Jackson Dart. The LA Rams. Perfect situation. Stafford's got about 2 years left. Go sit behind Stafford and learn. They can re-sign Puka. Cup's kind of on his way out, but he'd still be there. You know, he could still be a third down, like slot receiver. Go out and get you another receiver. Go out and get you build your defense up. Man.
Does we'll talk about that in the NFL. I got some questions about Stafford. I want to ask you some questions about him for the future. Because he's still slinging the ball. But I think I had one more game. Oh yeah, Liberty got stomped. By the way,
fell off.
They didn't have Caden Slater in this game. Obviously, he's going to Colorado, so their quarterback was non-existent. The running back had more yards than this kid had passing. Buffalo was actually a really competitive team this year. And they just, they didn't have the best game. I think they relied on the run a lot. As you can tell, the quarterback was only 9 of 19. It's okay. But Liberty just, they could do nothing in this game. They couldn't.
They lost to, I believe, Appalachian State. And once they lost to that, undefeated.
They lost to Kent State, remember, too?
Kennesaw State. That's who it was. They lost to Kennesaw State and then lost like 2 or 3 in a row. And just completely train railed their season. And
I think that's why Slayton kind of was. I think he was leaving anyways. because he's actually a really good quarterback. His numbers, I think he has over. I mean, I know this isn't a lot, but I think he has over 50 touchdowns in his career in college. Almost 6,000 yards passing. I mean, again, it's not just phenomenal, but he was originally at Tennessee, and then
Something like that.
Then he went to Liberty, and then now he's going to Colorado. So interesting to see who starts there for them, whether it's him or Juju. But I don't think Caden goes there if he doesn't start. I don't know, though. We'll see. I mean, I think Dion will actually make a competition. I don't think Caden will just get the nod because, I mean, Juju was the number 1 or number 2 quarterback coming out of high school in the nation, and here he is going to Colorado. So there's something there. We'll see what happens with that next year. But that's going to be exciting to see what he does. By the way, Caden Slayton's brother is going there as well.
He was Colorado?
Yes, he was playing. He was a linebacker at TCU. Now he is going to Colorado as well. So, and he had a pretty good year at TCU. I can't remember what linebacker position he plays, but he is. I just seen that on social media that he is going to Colorado as well. So the brothers are going to get to play with each other, which I think is pretty cool. And see how that goes for them next year. But that was a couple games. Obviously Wednesday we'll talk about the big games coming up. The big 2 games coming up.
Yeah.
Friday, is it Friday and Saturday?
Hey, 21-18. 21-18, North Dakota State.
Yeah, Montana State's coming back. We're actually getting to see.
And they have the ball.
And they're only down by 3, so they must have went for 2 and got it.
Yep.
So we're finally seeing the Montana State that we've been seeing all year show up. Because if I'm correct, they were undefeated.
Yes, they're 15-0.
So I'm glad to see that they're coming back and it's not a blowout game. So let's before we get into some NFL stuff, we'll run another ad and then we'll get into some NFL stuff. Some games from yesterday. Well, yeah, yesterday. And then some news, obviously, that from the NFL that's came out over the last 24 hours or so, and then we'll talk about some NBA stuff as well. So that'll be exciting. All right, so actually, I didn't make anything for this, but I know you want to talk about the Cincinnati thing. I did not put the Broncos game up here because it was no reason to. It was a stupid game. So go for it, Derek. I know you have a rant to do about that.
Why are we allowing teams to dictate the playoff this late in the season? Like we have a team in Cincinnati that is smoking hot. I mean, they have the Triple Crown winner as a wide receiver. They have Joe Burrow, who I think possibly could win the MVP. Is actually second on my board right behind Josh Allen. They are just playing really, really well. All they needed to do was win and have Denver lose.
And the Jets to win, which they did.
And the Jets to win, which they did, yeah. Denver played Cincinnati's fifth-string players. The game's over with by the first quarter, and Denver walks into the playoff. Like, that is – it's almost as bad as NBA teams resting players. I mean, play the game. Like, play – your contract is for a 17-game season. Unless you're hurt, go out there and play. I understand you don't want to get hurt and mess up the playoffs and stuff like that, but that is just atrocious to have a team that was so good at the end of the season who peaked and the early losses hurt them. But, man, that frustrates me so bad to see a team like that get in on a technicality because they all rested their players. And I'm going to tell you what it was. It wasn't so much that they rested their players as much as it was Cincinnati was scared. I mean, Kansas City is scared of Cincinnati. I don't care how you want to slice it. Kansas City is scared of Cincinnati and meeting them in the playoffs. So they figured out a loophole to not let Cincinnati in the playoffs. They said, we'll just rest everybody, and Cincy can't make it, because regardless of what happened to the Jets and the Dolphins, we'll just let Denver beat us, and that'll take care of all of it. We ain't got to worry about nothing.
Well, here's what I don't get. Is I completely agree with you. But why does Kansas City want to have 2 bye weeks?
Exactly.
Why not just play this
Exactly.
week? You're already going to get the bye regardless of where you lost. So you're still getting the bye. Why not try to win the game? And regardless, you're still going to get the bye. You're still going to get a week off. I actually think that's going to hurt Kansas City.
I hope it does. I hope they get smoked.
I wanted to see Cincinnati in the playoffs so bad. They did what they were supposed to do. They had help from the Jets, and then Kansas City just craps the bag and says, hey, we're not playing nobody. We're going to rest. Denver, go win the game, which we knew at that point they were going to win.
Yeah.
And I hate it for them because it's just not – I agree. Play your players unless they're hurt. I mean, look what happened in Green Bay. They played everybody, and now they lose people. And that sucks.
It does suck, but that's what your contract is 17 games.
You're paid to play the game.
What if I told my boss, hey, even though you tell me the work week is Monday through Friday, I'm only coming in Monday through Thursday. I ain't coming in Friday because I could get hurt out there. I might not, but I could get hurt, so I'm not going to chance it. They're not going to fly that way.
No, we gotta. These players have got to play unless they're hurt. Actually hurt, not banged up. If you're hurt, don't play. Fine.
Yeah.
Nobody played. And
now
I like Denver making the playoffs, but not that way.
Not that way. I agree with you. I love that Denver made it. I think they're a good up-and-coming team. And matter of fact, I will tell you this. I did see a mock draft. Denver trading up and taking Genty in the draft. Bo Nix and Genty would be very nice. I think that'd be a great fit for Genty.
That would be
but about these games you have on the screen, we'll start with the Jets one. Tyreek Hill's done. He came out and said it like he's done. You see all this stuff flying around. The Chiefs, the Cowboys. I saw the Rams name thrown in there. I've seen Atlanta thrown in there. So a lot of good avenues, just depending on who wants the drama, who wants the headache of Tyreek Hill at this point in his career. Rodgers and Adams are done in New York.
Yeah, that's done. I think if I'm Rodgers, I'm probably going to. I mean, why not just retire? I mean,
walked off the field. I would have pulled a Antonio Brown if I was Devontae Adams when I got hit on that pass by Rodgers. I would have just took my helmet off and just walked straight into the locker room. Like, I'm done. Like, I'm done. A-Chain looked good for Miami, but that was probably it. Huntley didn't look bad, but I mean, Rodgers didn't look bad. With 4 touchdowns, 1 interception, probably one of his best games of the year.
I think he was just trying to go out with a bang. I mean,
that's it. He was just swinging it.
Yeah.
I think somebody takes a shot at him. I think somebody brings him in.
Who would bring him in? Like, is he starting? Is that what you're saying? He's starting for someone? Is he play? Because Rodgers not playing backup. His ego is too high.
No, he's not playing backup. So I'm gonna throw this out there. I don't know. Like I said, I'm just spitballing here. Does Rodgers go to the Raiders with Tom Brady and mentor? Now, he's not a very good mentor. We already know that. Like, he's not going to be that guy. But a Shador or a Cam Ward, whoever the Raiders pick up in that spot, maybe. I think Brady and Rodgers together mentoring the next quarterback, maybe. I don't know. Something like
I'm trying to think of other situations, and honestly,
Indianapolis, maybe go to Indy. They need a quarterback. I think they're moving on from Richardson. I think they are. I don't know. I think he's a quarterback that needs a change of scenery. I don't know where he would go, but he needs a change of scenery for sure.
Yeah, I agree.
But yeah, that's my take on that one. Atlanta, Carolina. Let me tell you something about Bryce Young. Bryce Young is a quarterback in the NFL. Bryce Young is a NFL caliber quarterback. He showed it yesterday, and so was Michael Penix Jr. This was a great game of two great young quarterbacks. Offensively, Carolina is just missing weapons for Bryce Young.
Weapons and a few offensive linemen.
They need that. They need the line. I mean, everybody needs the line. But even with the beat-up line that he had, I mean, he still put together a really good game. He just doesn't have that star. He doesn't have that star, either running back or receiver or tight end. I mean, they say a tight end is the quarterback's best friend. I'd love to see him go get the Penn State tight end. Give him somebody that is Jason Witten.
Jason, I mean, yeah, give him a Jason.
You know what I mean?
Atlanta
is coming. I'm going to tell you right now. The three you got on that screen right there will win multiple division titles if they keep it together. I firmly believe that.
Oh my God, look at Bijan Robinson. I mean, that's
what I'm saying.
It's the best game in 2 years, I would say.
This team is so good. They're missing a few pieces, offensive linemen, maybe some defensive linebacker-ish help, something like that. But this is a great game. This is going to be a battle in the NFC South for a while.
Carolina won because it knocked Atlanta out.
Yes.
It did. Yeah. But what I do love is I agree with you. Michael Penix Jr. would have saved their season if they would have put him in earlier. Yes, way earlier.
And that's another quarterback we got to talk about. Who's taking Kirk Cousins? Who's taking that train wreck?
Whoever wants to spend a lot of money.
That's what I'm saying. Somebody's going to have to take on a crap ton of money unless they get a package with it and Atlanta says, hey, he's owed $80 million. We'll send y'all Cousins and our first-round pick, and we'll pay 30 of it. Y'all pay the other 50, and you get a first-round pick out of it. Whatever.
Yeah, I mean, that's kind of like the Daniel Jones situation. I mean,
Daniel Jones.
I mean, we haven't talked much about him, but he's at the Vikings. What does the Vikings do? They still got J.J. McCarthy. Now they got Daniel Jones, and they got Sam Darnold. What are they?
I'm hearing that the phones. I'm not hearing. I'm reading. I'm seeing like source stuff pop up that a lot of teams are calling about J.J. McCarthy. Seattle, the Jets, Indy, Seattle, the Jets, Indy, and there was one more NFC team. Who was it?
The Jets and the Browns are the two worst teams to go in as a young quarterback. I'm sorry, they just
100%.
They ruin. They find a way to ruin a good.
Obviously, they're the worst team to go to as a veteran quarterback too, because Rodgers.
I mean, I agree. I mean, and I've been hearing a lot of speculation about who that next coach will be. I've heard of two names in particular so far, but I don't know, man. If I'm JJ McCarthy, I'm finding a way to stay in Minnesota, but Minnesota can't pay him because now
I'd rather sit the bench in Minnesota than start in New York.
Oh, yeah. I'd rather be the third string in Minnesota than the start in New York.
I'll tell you where I could see McCarthy, JJ going, and I think it'd be a good fit because the veteran there, I think, would teach him, and they kind of resemble each other a little bit. New Orleans Saints. I know they got Spencer Rattler there, but I think Spencer Rattler is a massive bust. I think he was a bust in college. Yeah, he put up big numbers, but he's not a good quarterback. I would love to see Derek Carr mentor J.J. McCarthy for the last year and a half of his contract down there.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean they got to figure that. There's gonna be some lot of crazy offseason stuff in the NFL, and I'm excited for it. Obviously the Cincy game we talked about a little bit, but is Pittsburgh falling?
Pittsburgh's getting routed.
Are they falling at the worst possible time?
Yes, they're getting routed next week or this weekend. I'm sorry, they're getting routed by Baltimore.
Yeah, but I think Baltimore beats them too, and of course we'll talk about that
Wednesday. Yeah,
but yeah, I just cannot stand much with this, knowing Cincinnati doesn't make it. Does this Detroit Minnesota game mean really much of anything like this score here? I mean,
it means a whole lot. Because
look what Detroit's doing with all the injuries they have
on defense, all the injuries on defense, and and we just talked about it with Kansas City. These are starters. This isn't a Lions first team versus Minnesota's third string. These are starters going against starters. I put it in the group chat, and a lot of people didn't agree with me, especially Josh. But this Detroit Lions defense is really good.
They're really
they stopped them 3 times inside the 5. I mean, this team is clicking. Jared Goff looked good. I know he threw 2 picks, but
it didn't matter when you have Gibbs running.
But I'm talking about all year. Jared Goff is I would call him the poster boy for game manager. I mean, he doesn't do anything that blows your socks off. And Darnold could be the same way. When Minnesota was winning, the first 7 or whatever it was, he had 1 or 2 games where he was electric. The other ones he just kind of managed. They just kind of got through them. I think these 2 teams. I would not be surprised if we don't see them in the NFC Championship game. I don't know where they're at in the bracket wise. I'd have to check that. But I think NFC, Detroit, the Vikings, or Philly. I don't think there's any other choice to come out of the NFC.
Yeah, I agree with those 3 teams would be the top 3 to come out.
Yeah,
for sure.
I'm probably leaning towards Detroit more, just because offensively they have so many weapons. And you don't even have Jamal Williamson on here. Jameson Williamson on here, who is electric in his own self.
Yeah, I mean, I think Philly has obviously they have Saquon, but you just gotta. It's what are you going to get from Jalen Hurts? I think it's going to be the key for them in the playoffs. Their defense is going to be Philly's defense. But these playoffs are going to be fun. I feel like we're just missing Cincinnati, and I just cannot get over it.
Yeah, I agree.
I wish Cincinnati and Denver could have made it somehow. But
to me, there's going to be for me, there's going to be an asterisk on it if Kansas City makes it to the Super Bowl again. There's an asterisk for me if they make it again, because what if Cincinnati made it?
Yeah. I mean, yeah. I hate it. But, I mean, here we are.
Yeah.
So, before we get into some NFL news, some stuff that's happened, I'm going to run another ad, and then we'll hop into that. I know we kind of talked about the Tyreek Hill thing, but I do have something kind of for that.
Yep.
And we'll kind of talk about it again. But I'm going to run an ad, and then we'll get into some NFL news that's kind of popped up over the last 24 hours.
Drew Henkel. Therapeutic is located in South Tyler. Drew specializes in deep tissue work to relieve your chronic aches and pains. Drew also offers sports massage or full-body stretch sessions for athletes or people who have tight muscles. Find him on Facebook or call him at 903-747-0417.
Comanche Tees is located in Longview, Texas. They are owned by Naomi Simmons. They specialize in making all kinds of custom apparel and hats for any occasion. You can scan the QR code on the screen to go to her Facebook. Give her a call at 903-985-9120 or even email her at comanchetees24@gmail.com.
All right. Penderson fired. Who does the Jaguars replace him with? What's going to elevate them to the next level? Who's the coach that can elevate them to the next level? Because obviously he wasn't it for them. I think they need a offensive-minded, really big on quarterback coach because you've got to get Trevor Lawrence to the next level. Who could be that coach in your opinion?
Well, so let me ask you this. This would be my first question. Is Trevor Lawrence does Trevor Lawrence have a next level? I mean, is he that guy?
I mean,
or is he your?
I think he could be better than he has been, but I don't know how much better. Like, I'm not saying there's a big jump there. I just don't think Penderson was the right coach for the team, my opinion. I don't know how much better he can be, but, I mean, I think Trevor Lawrence is a good quarterback. I'm not saying he's top 5, but, I mean, I don't know. I mean, they need – it's almost like should they get like a young-ish type coach? Not a Ben Johnson because he's not going there. But
no, he for sure isn't going there.
Somewhere along that line-ish type coach. I mean –
let's see.
I mean, I don't think this would happen, but oh my Lord, he's the offensive coordinator for Washington. We've talked about him a lot.
Kingsbury.
Could Cliff Kingsbury make this team better?
I don't think Cliff Kingsbury goes there if the Dallas job is offered. I want to say Josh McDaniel.
That's actually a really good one. I mean, I think he would be really good for them. He's younger, not young, but he's younger.
He's younger.
He's great offensively. I mean, look what he did with Tom Brady.
Great offensive mind. I think you put a guy like that in the position to find out if Trevor Lawrence is your guy. You put, like you said, an offensive-minded coach that slings the ball around in the position to see what your quarterback has. He'll either elevate him or he'll stay the same, and you'll know that's not your guy.
Do you let Trevor Lawrence finish out his new contract to see if he gives you that opportunity? Yes. I agree. I think you let him finish it out, see what he can do over.
I think he's got 3 years left on it.
I think it's 3 years. I think he got a 3-year deal.
Yeah.
I think you let him finish it out. Let him get a new offensive coach in there or head coach, maybe even a new offensive coordinator. Who knows? See what he can do with it.
Theoretically, that's the whole thing with college and NFL coaches. You think 3 years. I know you got like Dan Quinn in Washington. It didn't take 3 years. They stepped in. They started winning. Last year with what's his name in Houston? I can't think of the Houston coach's name. He stepped in.
DeMeco Ryans.
DeMeco Ryans. He stepped in. He started winning. So I'm not saying it takes 3 years, but I think that's your window. What do we look like from February of 2025 to February of 2027? Right? 2028. Like what do we look like as a organization, as a quarterback, as a head coach? And if it's not any better, you move on. You don't re-sign him. You move on and give the coach one more year with a new quarterback to see if it was the coach or the quarterback.
Right.
And then you go from there. That's my opinion.
I'm looking at the Jacksonville, roster offense wise. Running back, we have Travis Etienne, which I mean, he's good. He's sometimes banged up, but I'm looking at the receiver core more than anybody. They have Devin Duvernay, which he played at Texas, but he's year 5. They have a rookie in Bryce Thomas Jr., which is really good from LSU.
Really good.
Parker Washington from Penn State, really good. But they're missing the one star receiver. I think that could be a dominant receiver that could take them to another level.
They thought Christian Kirk was going to be it.
Yeah.
When they signed him from Arizona, they thought he was going to be the guy, because then not only did they get him, the same offseason they brought in Evan Ingram from the Giants, and that was going to be their 1-2 kind of punch on offense. The tight end, the receiver to take the top off, and it never worked.
It didn't. So we'll see what they do. We'll see who they hire. Hopefully they take their time a little bit. I think Jaguars need to take their time and get the right guy, whoever that might be, because you've got to get the right guy, I think, like you said, to see if Trevor Lawrence is the guy for you at the quarterback position.
Yes.
If you don't get the right guy, you're not going to find out. You're going to see the same Trevor Lawrence. And again, I mean, was it last year or the year before that Penderson they got to the playoffs? I think it was 2
years.
2 years ago. Yeah. So we'll see what they do, man. I mean, there'll be some good coaches out there, but I think the next thing we're going to talk about, I was really surprised by this, and I kind of, Jared Mayo fired year one, didn't even and I'll tell you what, Robert, and I made this with Robert Kraft because I saw something, an article that he said that it's his fault. He put him in this position. He's not ready to be a head coach type thing. That team was going to be bad regardless. I don't care what coach you have in there. They were not going to win a ton of games. It was not going to happen. I hate that he got fired after year one. You gave him one off season to build a team, and then you fire him.
It's not to be any kind of way on here. This is going to end up being a sticky situation.
It will be a sticky situation.
Not only for the league, but for Robert Kraft, but for the media, but for everything. It's going to be a sticky situation because of this. Because just like you said, you gave him 1 year to turn something around. Coming from Bill Belichick, coming from 2 years removed from Tom Brady, who does he hire now? Like, where does he go? There's been one name floated around, and I think it might have even been in the chat today. John Gruden.
I saw somebody else too. Mike Vrabel.
Mike Vrabel, another ex-player. So now they're still going to be bad next year, right? Yeah, they have the number 4 pick. I personally think that's what it was about more than anything. I think that they lost the number 1 pick because you beat a team that you should not have even tried to beat. And I think it was more about that than anything else. But if you bring in Gruden, if you bring in Vrabel, if you bring in Cliff Kingsbury, whoever you bring in, if they're not gone after the first year of a bad season, the media is going to explode with this. The NFL Players Association is going to investigate this. I mean, it is going to be a massive story. And so, man, I just don't like it. I don't. Now, do I think Gerard Mayo is an NFL head coach? No, I do not. Do I think Gerard Mayo could be an NFL defensive coordinator? Absolutely. The dude was an amazing linebacker for the Patriots. I'm going to tell you who I would love to see as New England's head coach. Brian Flores. I would love to see Brian Flores as the head coach because he's a no-nonsense head coach, kind of just like Bill Belichick was. I would love to see Gerard Mayo as maybe a defensive coordinator, get something underneath his belt, coaching-wise, establish a good defense, get a guy that has been the head coach before to come in, and start from there and build. But I just don't think he was not ready for head coach. I'm sorry.
I agree with that, but I still think that maybe after year 2 you fire him But I mean, the guy had never been a coach ever. You made him your head coach. Obviously, the ties is what got him the coach. Maybe
Yeah.
the relief. But yeah, this is not going to look good for the Patriots. It's not going to look good for Robert Kraft. It's not going to look good for the NFL because now he's going to. Like you said, if the next coach does no better, then it's going to look really bad.
I'm going to tell you. I'm going to throw you a little curveball here. I think they have a franchise quarterback on their team.
I think Drake May is actually pretty good, better than I thought.
Joe Milton.
Milton. Yeah, Milton's really good too.
I would look to trade Drake May. I would look just to see if a second or a third round pick was out there because you're already top 5, right? You already got a top 5 pick. And me and a coworker were talking today. If you lose that game yesterday and you get the number 1 pick and you don't see really anything that you like, guess what? There's a plethora of teams that would have loved to come up to that number 1 pick.
Oh, yeah.
You could have got a king's ransom to drop back to 4, to drop back to 5, and still got a quality player loaded up on picks. Then you could have put Drake May in the package, maybe moved some of those picks you just got with some other with Drake May and moved back up into the top 10 and got 2 solid core pieces, much like Houston did. I think that would have been the ideal thing to do. But like I said, I think he just screwed himself by winning that game. And it sucks to say that, but I think he did.
Yeah, and they played a Buffalo team that played nobody too. Buffalo didn't play nobody.
Yeah.
So it's not even more like they may have purposely won, but even if the Bills had played half of a game, the Bills would have won.
Yeah, I agree.
But here we are. And then I think the Tyreek thing.
Yeah.
Where can he really go? I think there's a lot of teams he could go to. I actually think, in my opinion, for some reason, I think he goes back to Kansas City. Why not? What's crazy is he said that he thought Tua was a better quarterback than Patrick Mahomes.
Yeah, that's why I don't think the Kansas City reunion works, especially if they win another one. If they win another Super Bowl, they're going to say, we don't need you. We've won 3 in a row. We don't need you.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like I said, I think Atlanta is a great spot. That gives Penix another weapon. Maybe if you bring in another wide receiver to take the top off of one side, then you've got Drake London on the other side. Maybe that middle opens up and Kyle Pitts emerges. So now if Kyle Pitts emerges, now that offense is a top 5 offense in the NFL. You got Bijan, you've got Pitts, you've got Hill, and you've got Drake London. So that's scary.
Could he? This is crazy to say what I'm about to say, but just based off the success, and I think Tyreek Hill is to the point in his career where he's like wanting to win now. Could he go to a Detroit? I know they already have their stars, but it would be an easy thing for him to do. Not that they need him. It would be easy to win one with him. Could he go to a Minnesota? They're already loaded, but why not?
I'll tell you,
get an easy one.
Big name team that he could go to that's up and coming and does not have a star receiver, but they're doing really well.
Chargers.
The Chargers.
Yeah, that was another team.
The Chargers. That would be a great fit for him. But like I said, you. This is the problem with the athletes nowadays. You're not getting the athlete. You're getting the athlete plus the drama, plus the outside interference, plus the social media, plus you're getting all of that. And, man, at some point you're just like, yeah, he could be a top 5 wide receiver in the NFL, but do I want that culture? Do I want that coming in like a Harbaugh? I don't know if Harbaugh meshes well with him because Harbaugh is building a culture in L.A. And I don't see it.
Yeah, I agree. It's going to have to be the right situation, the right team. I think Tyreek's still a phenomenal player.
Yeah.
He's just got to find the right fit for him. I think he does end up somewhere. I think he surprises everybody where he goes. I think you're right about the Kansas City reunion. That would make sense for him, and it would make sense for Cincinnati. I mean, for Kansas, because hell, they've won without him. They're going for a three-peat without him.
Yeah.
So, yeah, I'm excited to see where it goes. Though I wonder if he ponders it over the offseason, or does he make it a quick thing? But I do believe he's out of Miami. No doubt he's out. And we'll see where it goes. So I'm going to another ad, and then we're going to hop into some NBA stuff, which I'm excited about.
Yeah.
Some stuff's been happening in the NBA a little bit, and there's some other things I wanted to talk about. And then that'll be about all we have as on paper. And then if there's anything else we'll talk about it.
One of the many things that we offer is a fence repair. And today we're out here in Longview, Texas. We are going to be replacing a rotten 4x4 post. Fence restored and standing tall. You can reach us at 903-619-6343.
All right. Jimmy Butler suspended. Once out of Miami, where does he go? That's what everybody want to know. That's the big thing in the NBA right now. Not sure what happened there. I think this has kind of been coming though.
So this is very fitting that we start off with this right after the Tyreek Hill because they're one in the same.
Mm-hmm.
You're not getting Jimmy Butler the player. You're getting Jimmy Butler the drama, Jimmy Butler the player, Jimmy Butler the social media, Jimmy Butler the diva. You're getting all of that.
Mm-hmm.
But with that being said, I've done a lot of thinking over this. I really have. I've put a lot into this. And I'm going to tell you, to me, there's one team that I think could use him as the player, as the veteran, and that's the San Antonio Spurs.
Oh, God.
I really do, man. I think Jimmy,
as much as I hate the drama part, I actually agree with you.
I mean, the grindingness, the grittiness, the defensive, just the player himself, I think would elevate them, especially with Wemby. I think him, Wemby, and Chris Paul would make a great trio. I really do. Defensively, I think they'd be really, really good. Offensively, the Spurs get better. I think, depending on what you give up, depending on how everything works. But there's also one more person I think that could slide in. He just got benched for his team, but I think there's another player that could come to San Antonio and be offensive side. Jimmy is going to be your defensive guy. Bradley Beal from the Suns would be a good addition offensively for that. But I don't know if Bradley Beal is a pop guy. I think Jimmy is a pop guy because I think Jimmy would buy in and respect pop, and Jimmy would be a Kawhi Leonard type of player. If Jimmy would just play ball, Jimmy would be amazing.
I think if he was going to San Antonio, Pop will shut the babiness, the off the court stuff, the drama. Yeah. He would tell him, "You're not going to come here and do that. That's not what we're here." I've been here for 30 plus years. You saw what we've done here. You're going to come here. You're going to play ball. We're going to be quiet. We're not going to be flashy. That's not what we're about. If we could get that from him, he would actually be a great addition. He does push them better defensively. They would be insane because Wemby's an insane defensive player. He's up for defensive player of the year. I mean, he was up there last year. He's a phenomenal.
Do you know he has more blocks right now than 90% of the NBA history players in history? Right now, he has more blocks.
There was a stat the other day about Wemby that he is the only person in San Antonio history that has so many points, so many blocks, rebounds. The only other person that has done what he's done on stat wise is the Admiral. Only one. Not even Tim Duncan done what he's done so far so early in his career. Wemby is insane. And they're playing right now, actually. I'm watching the games up on the TV. They're playing the Bulls. They're winning by 10 right now. Well, they're winning by 8 now. But as much in the beginning, I didn't like this. I follow San Antonio groups. I've been seeing it everywhere. But I think he does elevate them. And there are some players that I would like to see go in San Antonio. One of them I don't want to see go, but I think he would be in the package. But if they keep their core and a few of their bench players that are crucial to them, and then kind of get the other ones that are good, but they've kind of went on the back burner, like Keldon Johnson. I hate he would go, but he would go.
Yeah.
Zach Collins, he would go. He would be in this deal. He's terrible for them. I don't like him in San Antonio more. I did. I don't like him now. He's not a very good backup. He would be in that package. He could go help be the backup, if not be the starting center for Miami, or even the power forward. He could, there'd be multiple players involved in this deal. But I'm going to agree with you. I'm thinking about all the teams, and I think San Antonio actually might be the best fit for him. And the drama would definitely pipe down because Pop's not going to put up with it.
Yeah.
He's not. So
let me what was that? How was I going to word it? If Jimmy, I'm sorry, I got tongue tied real quick. Where do you know where Jimmy went to college?
Yes, I do. I don't know if he started there, but he went to TJC.
Yep.
Then he went to Belen, and then he went to Marquette.
Marquette. That's right.
I'm not sure if he went in that order, but
he went in that order. He went in that order. You know who else went to Marquette?
Dwayne Wade.
I saw Dwayne Wade play from Marquette when he played TCU. I went to TCU and watched him play. And I'm going to tell you right now, Dwayne Wade is borderline the best college basketball player that I've ever seen in my life. He was unbelievable, man. It was everything. It didn't matter what he did, what he wanted to do. He did it. He did it. And it was like, who is this guy?
Can I throw you Wemby's stats real quick right now?
Yeah.
Tell me this is something insane. All right, he has 22 points. He does have 5 turnovers, whatever. 8 blocks, 4 assists, and 14 rebounds.
What quarter?
Well, the fourth had just started. He'll get blocks. 8 blocks. That is insane.
He'll get a triple-double.
I want to see how many blocks he has for the season. This is nuts.
So what? Let's see here.
That is just nuts, man. He's better. Dude, he's nut, man. That's just. I don't even know what to say, man. 8 blocks. It's just unheard of. I'm trying to think of 8 blocks, man. I don't know, crazy. I cannot remember. Oh, this is what it was. Derrick Rose getting his jersey retired.
I love it.
This is amazing. What the Bulls game the other night, they did a little ceremony thing. I don't know if it was actual retirement. I thought they said next year, but maybe they did do this the other night. But Joakim Noah said what he said perfectly about D Rose. Said he is Chicago. He is the MVP of the city. He still is. Like, I'm glad they're doing this for Derrick Rose because he deserves it every bit. Derrick Rose, to me, is the number one person to me that you don't know how his career would have gone. We can only imagine. And in history, like you think of some players like Brandon Roy. We were just talking about the big man from Portland. I can't think of his name.
Greg Oden.
You know, all these players that the unknowns, if they don't get hurt, what happens to them. Derrick Rose, to me, could still be a Hall of Famer, in my opinion. Even what little he did, he deserves it because of what should have been. Derrick Rose was Derrick Rose is going to be an insane player, and he tried so hard to come back, and
he would have went down as the best point guard of all time had he not got hurt.
Man,
he would have won at least 2 titles in Chicago, because I don't know if you knew this or remember this. Dwayne Wade did an interview before there was ever talk about LeBron and Bosh coming to Miami. Wade was going to Chicago. It would have been Rose, Wade, Jimmy Butler, Luol Deng, Carlos Boozer, Joakim Noah, Mike Dunleavy. That would have been the Bulls team.
Which would have
been insane. You would have had Jimmy Butler or Luol Deng coming off the bench with Mike Dunleavy.
Which is just insane.
Which is crazy. So Derrick Rose deserves to have his stuff retired. When I think of Chicago basketball, I think Jordan, Pippen, Rose, and Phil Jackson. That's who I think of. You know, a lot of people might put Rodman up there. I don't, even though I think he's the greatest rebounder that ever walked on planet Earth. I just don't put him in my top 4. But yeah, I'm so happy for this man. I loved watching Derrick Rose. I watched him at Memphis. He was so good at Memphis in that championship game, in that championship run when they met Kansas. I think he knocked down a go-ahead 3 kind of late, and then Kansas hit one and then got fouled to kind of win it. But man, that's another team that he carried on his back. So yeah, I'm so in support of this. I think I will definitely be watching this game.
Yeah, me as well. Kudos to Derrick Rose. I'm glad he's getting the recognition that he should have gotten, regardless. But I still always think what would have been of Derrick Rose if he never got hurt. And I hate that we never got to see that because he would have been
phenomenal.
I mean, phenomenal is definitely the word. But moving on. All right, so kind of here's the standing so far. This was through January 3rd. I didn't update it from yesterday, but you got the West. OKC is still up at the top. It's still kind of the same. Lakers number 4. I don't know.
Golden State fell off.
Golden State fell off.
We'll talk about that here in a minute. The 76ers coming on strong.
They are coming. They're moving the needle a little bit.
Yeah.
Number 11. You got Detroit. Cade Cunningham is becoming the star in Detroit.
Yes, he is. They've got a great young core.
They're just missing that veteran guy, another star player, not superstar, but star player. But I do like what's happening in Detroit. Indiana's still kind of Indiana. They're usually around 500 anyways. Atlanta, I don't know. I still think Trae Young is leaving soon, but, that's just me. I watched them get clobbered the other night by the Clippers. No, it wasn't even a game.
Milwaukee looked good. They're hanging in there. They don't look good. They're hanging in there. Miami's
going to fall. I do not expect to see them. I'm going to say right now, I don't know if Miami makes the playoffs. Too much drama going on.
Yeah. Depends on what they get in the package for Butler.
Yeah, they might make the play in, but they're not. I don't see them staying number 6. Orlando stepping up.
Yeah,
Um,
they're missing a piece. Pablo Banchero is a All NBA. He's a superstar.
Superstar. That's their superstar. I love Cole Anthony there, Jr.
Yes.
Phenomenal.
Jalen Suggs.
Jalen Suggs from Villanova. I mean, they
Nope,
have a
Gonzaga.
Oh, it was Gonzaga. Yeah.
Yeah,
You're right,
Gonzaga.
you're right. He was on the championship team, right?
Yeah, well,
Yeah.
So, hey, fun fact. Do you know who he went to school with?
I don't. I'm trying to think, but I can't. It ain't.
He graduated from Hopkins High School in Minnesota with Paige Beckers.
Oh, that's right. They're really good. They're great friends. That's right. That's
yeah,
right.
they're great friends.
They're really close. That's right. I remember them. I seen them on social media.
I'll go ahead and tell you this. If it is not Oklahoma City versus Cleveland in the finals, I would be absolutely shocked.
Yeah, there's them two teams right now.
I think they're head and shoulders. I love seeing Memphis right there in second. I think that's awesome. I think they're playing. They're under the radar.
Yeah, they are. Like, I love Zach Edey there. He was a missing piece for them.
I agree.
As a rookie, he's been playing really good for them.
You got him. You've got 2 Defensive Player of the Years in. That's it. Hey. They're missing a veteran. Jimmy Butler to Memphis.
I mean, the drama is already there, so why not?
The drama's already there. Why not add fuel to the fire and see if it just blows up?
I mean, and that would actually make them better defensively with Desmond Bain. I mean, he's a great defender.
I think Desmond would get traded. I think he would be.
He'd be in the deal.
Yeah, and I think because Jimmy could also give you scoring. I think John needs a little help offensively because he tries to do too much sometimes. Instead of this is like the grit and grind Memphis team. Like this is the 91-85 type of Memphis team that used to win back in the day with Zach Randolph and Mark Gasol,
Mike Conley.
Mike Conley. Yeah. I mean, this is that Tony Allen.
Do you know Mike Conley is still playing?
He is still playing.
Yeah. I did not know he was still playing, man. That is crazy.
This is who they remind me of. I mean, just be honest. That's who they remind me of.
Yeah, I think Zach Edey was a good pickup for them. You know, they still got Jaren Jackson, which, you know, a couple of years ago, they was debating if they should trade him or get rid of him, but I'm glad they kept him.
Absolutely.
I think Jimmy Butler would actually do well there. He would elevate them to the next level.
Yep, I agree.
But man, OKC, Shea, man, I don't even know, dude. He is something else, man. I mean, Cleveland is just.
They've got everything. They've got guards. They've got bigs. They've got stretch bigs. They've got a bench.
I did not expect this from Cleveland this year. I don't think a lot of people did. Boston's been like they'll win a lot of games and then they'll kind of go on like not a big losing streak. They'll lose a couple.
Yeah.
The Knicks, no man, the Knicks are still kind of the Knicks. I know they're 24-11, but they still lose those games that like should not lose. Like I can't remember who they lost to the other night.
I think the West is OKC, and then everybody else. The East is Cleveland, Boston, and everybody else. Like I wouldn't be shocked if it was OKC and Boston. I wouldn't be shocked if Cleveland and Boston didn't go to Game 7 in the Eastern Conference Final. 5 overtimes, and it's a 1-point win. That wouldn't shock me because they're both that amazing. I mean, they complement each other so well. Great backcourts, great bigs, great benches, great coaches. So yeah, that anybody but those two would be a shock for me in the East.
Let's say a team from the West and the East. Which teams here could really move the needle at the trade deadline and like get a player? Like, I mean, I know Jimmy Butler's available. There will be other players available. Which team like that you see here, and it could be at any seating right now or any position, who could actually like add a player and like get better and make a run? Like, which actual team here outside of the ones that are already good? Like, which team from each conference could you see actually making that move and kind of getting themselves in a position to make a run and like just compete for a championship? Actually compete, not just go to the playoffs and get spanked, but actually compete for one. Like, I mean, can Dallas go get something? Like, they're not. I mean, they were kind of in the same position last year. Then they kind of went on a run and like played. Obviously, they went to the championship, but like, who's? I mean, like Pelicans. I feel like Pelicans have a lot to offer. Who could go get some of those?
That's what I'm supposed to look up right now. I'm fixing to tell you. I'm fixing to give you.
Look at Phoenix. Does Phoenix make a move? They're not. Phoenix is not a good team. I don't care. Like, I'm surprised they're sitting here at 11. Like, I'm so surprised that they're on the outside looking in with what they have. You got Devin Booker, you got Kevin Durant and Bradley Beal, and you're number 11. That's really shocking to me. Like,
so, I would love. I don't know if it would happen. I don't know if it could happen. I would love to see C.J. McCollum. I'd love to see New Orleans blow it up because Zion's done. He's only played 6 games this year. He's probably one of the biggest busts of recent memory. I mean, he's horrible. I knew he was horrible. I knew he wasn't any good at Duke. All he did was dunk. He was a poor man's Blake Griffin. That's who he is. I would love to see him blow it up. I would love to see C.J. McCollum go to Milwaukee.
Back with Dame Lillard.
Back with Dame Lillard. I would love to see Brandon Ingram go to Orlando. Give them a stretch wing.
Him and Pablo on
the same. I would love to see Jimmy, like I said, go to the Spurs or go to the Grizzlies. I would love to see Bradley Beal make a move. Maybe not that they would. Bradley Beal to Denver. Bradley Beal to like Detroit.
Ooh.
Give them that veteran for Cade. Zach LaVine needs to move. Joel Embiid to the Clippers.
Oh my dude.
I mean, there's a lot of stuff that could be done. And I think it would be amazing. I mean, it would be good trade. I think Bradley Beal to I don't think certain teams are going to trade in conference. Like, I don't think the Suns would trade Bradley Beal to the Clippers. I just don't see it, which I think would be great. You know what I mean? But I don't see them trading him to the Spurs. Now, I would see them trade Bradley Beal to the Pelicans for Brandon Ingram or C.J. McCollum because they're in last place, so they're irrelevant.
Right.
So I think it's going to be interconference swapping. So like I said, I think the Bucks could get McCollum for a first and some players. I think the Magic could get Brandon Ingram, which would really elevate them defensively. I think if the 76ers go on a little losing streak right here before the trade deadline, they might blow it up. I mean, truthfully, I'd like to see Joel Embiid in Detroit with Cade. I'd like to see Detroit go all in. Go get Cade and Bradley Beal, or Cade and Joel and Jimmy Butler. Just see what happens. Just throw it and just see.
Wow. Yeah, I mean, I'm also looking here in Washington, like
who do they have? I don't even know who they have.
Well, they have Kyle Kuzma. He's okay.
He's all right.
I'm saying he's okay, but he could help a team. He's not helping Washington. Washington's atrocious. I mean,
yeah.
I could see someone from there moving. There's nothing to break up. They're terrible. LaMelo Ball could be gone at some point in time, I think. The Raptors are terrible. I don't even know who's on the Raptors anymore. I know they have Grady Dick. He's a rookie. I mean, I don't even know who's on the Raptors anymore.
I don't either.
Brooklyn. I mean, man, they're sitting there at 12. I mean, outside looking in, I doubt they make any moves, but no one wants Ben Simmons. We know that he's not. Again, he's pretty much a bust, as we all knew. I'm trying to think of.
He actually has the world record for longest workman comp claim. That dude been on workman's comp for 9 years, bro. It's ridiculous.
That's hilarious. Utah, Lauri Markkanen, man, get out of there.
Get out of there.
You're too
Get
good.
out of there.
I could see somebody getting a Lauri Markkanen. I would. You know where I would like to see him at? I would like to see him. I know we're Lauri Markkanen. I know you're not going to like this because I know you don't like this team, but I think he actually makes this team better. I would like to see the Lakers go get him. Anthony Davis has hurt half the time. They didn't really have a backup big man. I think he actually makes them better because he's a really good player. He's just on a really bad team.
Let me ask you this. I'm gonna throw this out here. I want you to tell me if you would do this. Okay. Let me find it real quick. Where am I at?
Man, San Antonio is about to blow this game.
Who is?
San Antonio is about to blow it.
Oh, San Antonio.
Yep.
I'm losing my stuff here. So New Orleans, Orlando. All right, Orlando. If you're the Orlando Magic, okay, and your top scorers are Pablo Banchero at 29 points.
He's averaging 29 a game.
29 a game. Franz Wagner, 25 a game. Jalen Suggs, 16 a game. Mortez Wagner, 13 a game. Okay? You're missing a guard, right? You're missing another elite scorer. If in 3 weeks the Sacramento Kings are same spot, maybe 14th, I'm calling and I'm offering the farm for DeAndre Fox.
Ooh, from Sacramento.
From Sacramento. I'm getting Fox. You can have anybody but Suggs, Wagner, and Banchero. You can have picks. You can have whatever you want, except for them four or them three. Does that make Orlando dangerous in the East?
Oh, I see. If they were to do that, they're definitely going to be. I think they move above the Knicks when it's all said and done. And depending, I do think it makes them better. I mean, they're number 4 right now. They're going to make the playoffs. I mean, look at the lead they have on the Bucks. The Bucks are the win and the lose. They win, they lose. I mean, I would definitely, I would do that if I'm them for sure. I'm breaking. I mean,
Fox is averaging 27 a game.
Yeah, Fox is another player. He doesn't need to be in Sacramento.
No.
Like even Sabonis needs to get out of Sacramento. He's
listen to this. I don't know where they're at. Fox 27 a game. Sabonis 21. DeRozan 21. Malik Monk 17. Keegan Murray 12. How are they sitting at the 12th seed when they've got players that are scoring like in bunches?
Because they can't play no defense. That's
ridiculous.
DeRozan should get out. I mean, there's players on these teams that just need to get out. They're not going nowhere. Like Sacramento, if I'm correct, they fired Mike Brown too.
Yeah, they did.
They're not going nowhere. I actually think this might be one of the busiest trade lines we've had in a while.
Agreed.
I think we're going to have some movement here that we're going to be shocked by. That we haven't, like last year, there wasn't much movement. I mean, there was a little bit, but I think we're going to have some movement this year before the trade deadline, which I believe is
February 15th.
Yeah, it's like mid-February. It's right.
So I don't know what the next slide is. It might be what's the next one?
It's some MVP stuff.
Okay, well, right before we get to that,
yeah.
So we can finish with the MVP. What happened? Let me tell you why Golden State went from the 3rd seed before Christmas to the 9th seed now. That's because the fall off of Buddy Hield has been ridiculous. I don't know if you know this. In the month of October, he averaged 21 points a game, which we said, man, what a replacement for Clay, right? Perfect replacement. In the month of November, 13 points a game. In the month of December, 8.5 points a game. And this year alone, in the 3 games that they've played, 8 points per game. He has completely fell off. So Steph Curry has taken the load on the offensive side, and it shows. Steph can't, and it sounds bad, but Steph can't carry a team anymore. He's got to have that help. They have got to go out and look for him some help. Maybe a Zach LaVine from Chicago, something along them lines that can come in and help him out. I've seen Jimmy Butler's name thrown in there, but I don't know if Jimmy and Green would do good together.
Hey, real quick, North Dakota State won 35-32.
Yes, they did just win. I just saw that as well.
Yeah. Warriors need help. They're just going to continue to decline until they get help, which unfortunately they haven't made moves, but they need to get somebody because they need help bad. We'll see what happens though. They got Buddy Hield's either got to get better or they've got to make a move. I think they should make a move regardless of whether he gets better or not. They need to make a move. The last slide is so these are the top 5 MVP players right now, or candidates right now. There's really no surprise on here. I got this off of the NBA website. This is insane. Now look what Jokic is doing, and they're not. His stats don't like.
They're what, a 5th seed?
Well,
yeah,
5th seed. Yeah.
So to me, there's only 2 choices on here for MVP. Really, there's only one, but it's Shea and it's Jason Tatum because they're at the top of their conference.
Oh yeah, I agree.
Wemby can't be it, even though he's putting up great numbers. Eddie Gray, what's good, bro?
Hey, Eddie, how are you, man?
704 Charlotte bound news and sports in the building. Oh, what's up, Eddie?
Thanks for
stopping in, man. I think Shea is probably head and shoulders. Jokic averages. I wish one freaking season Jokic would come out and publicly be like, I'm going to try this year. I'm going to enjoy basketball, and I'm going to try. He'd average 40, 20, and 10, and it would be the greatest MVP season ever. The guy does not give 2 crap about basketball. He wants the season to be over with, whether it's in March, whether it's in June, so he can go back over to Slovenia or wherever he's from and race horses and hang out. That's all he cares about. I think what Shea is doing with this young group of guys, because I don't know if we forget or we just don't look at it. This Thunder team is young. I think Shea's the oldest one on the team.
Yeah,
and they've got. Did you see the breakdown of the draft picks they have? They have 4 first-rounders coming up. They have 2 first-rounders the following year. They have 2 first-rounders the next year. They have 4 second-rounders the year after that. They're fixing to load up. And what they could do, they could package stuff together and make moves for major players if they don't win it this year.
Hey, he's not the oldest player, but can you guess who the oldest player is? He's not really old, but he's
Shea's not the oldest?
Alex Caruso, he's 30.
I forgot Alex Caruso got traded from the Bulls for that.
And there's another kid on there named Heinrich Williams. He's 30 as well, but still 30 years old.
Yeah, like I said, when you've got 4 first-round players, I guarantee you, if you was to call up Orlando and say, hey, we're going to give y'all 3 first-round picks this year, 2 first-round picks next year, and 1 first-round pick the year after that for Pablo, There's no way they're not jumping on that because those aren't Oklahoma City's picks. They're like Charlotte's and Portland's and teams that are bad.
The best thing that happened to Shea was getting traded from the Clippers.
100%.
Like, I'm not saying it's almost like the James Harden situation. Like going from OKC to Houston, like he got on the team like it was his team. So yeah, I think Shea is MVP right now overall. I do like seeing Victor up there. I think his numbers are well enough to be in the conversation. He's not quite there yet. Obviously, the team's success is not helping, and they just blew this game in Chicago when they were up by almost 20, and now they're about to lose by 4. I mean, I think it's Shea. I think it's Shea, Jason, Jokic, Giannis, and Victor. I mean, that's kind of where I would put them. Giannis, I mean, he's always going to put up good numbers because, well, I mean, it's him and Dame.
That's it.
But yeah, I mean, Shea is, dude. He makes the game look so easy. He's almost like Jokic, but he like cares about the game, but he actually makes it look easy. Like when Shea plays, I just see that and yeah, Jonathan said Shea. I actually agree with that. I thought Shea was going to win it last year. I really believe that Shea was going to, yeah. Shea's hands down the MVP right now. I don't see it changing unless they just fall off, but they're not going to fall off. And what's crazy, people don't understand, they don't even have Chet yet. They don't even have Chet. And imagine what happens when Chet comes back. This team is going to be, I mean, he's only technically he's in year 1 because he got hurt last year. He didn't play the whole season. And then he's hurt now again. Like,
let me see something while we're on here.
I hope Chet doesn't become an injury-prone player because they will get rid of him. Because, I mean, what's the point of having him if he doesn't play, But Chet is a phenomenal player as well. I think he's really good for this team. He's in the right situation. I think him going and playing with Shea was, God dang, San Antonio just blew this game. That's insane. I cannot believe they lost that game. Yeah, I'm right there with you, man. Shea is just, he's, again, hands down the best in the league right now.
Okay, let's pull this back up real quick. Hang on. Oh, yeah, right here. This coming draft, the Thunder have their own pick. They have Houston and the Clippers swap. Whichever one has the highest, they have it. They have the Jazz number 1 pick. And they have the Heat number 1 pick.
This coming up here?
This coming up here. And they have a top 6 protected 76ers pick.
Wow.
What? 5 first-round picks. Now, the Jazz is the top 10 protected, so that's probably going to be gone. But the Sixers is the top 6. Right now, they're not top 6. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. So they would get a top 10 pick plus 3 other picks. I mean, yeah.
Wow. They're set up, man. They're only going to get better.
Yeah,
through the draft. They're only going to get better through the draft because they're going to have those top, those good players still sitting there.
Yeah.
Well, man, this was awesome, man. I'm glad I got everything figured out on my end. I was able to come in and I texted you 2 hours before. I was like, hey, you want to do the show?
I love it. I was glad we did it.
I'm glad we did it too. I'm glad I got all my stuff figured out and I was able to come and do the show tonight. So we were supposed to have a guest on Sunday. I didn't do it tonight because it was kind of last minute, but I believe we'll have our coach on. And what's exciting about that, he actually just changed schools. So I'm excited to hear about that, kind of what that change was about, what came about it. Hopefully he can join us Wednesday. I'm going to reach out to him to make sure he can come on Wednesday. So I'm excited about that. Mm-hmm. We'll talk about the college games coming up Thursday and Friday. And then we will talk about the upcoming NFL wildcard weekend. which will
I
be
like it.
exciting. There's some good games coming up with that. It's crazy to think there's only two more college games left, or three more
That's it.
college games left. Wow, the season flew by.
That's it. Then we're on to basketball.
Yeah,
Baseball coming up. Hockey coming up.
full on basketball. After February, we'll be full on basketball, hockey, spring balls
Baseball.
around the corner.
Yeah.
I do want to say though, Sunday's going to be exciting. We have a guest Sunday. Super excited about that. That's coming up. And sucks. We can't go to the game Friday.
Yeah. We get
there's
snow and sleet and ice and
the weather's going to shut that down, so we'll have to reschedule that and go to another game. But man, great show, man. We appreciate everybody hopping in and hanging out with us this whole time.
appreciate you guys.
Appreciate the sponsors as always being here. And again, guys, check us out on, we're on all platforms. I have a QR code at the beginning and end of our podcast. So if you scan that, it'll take you to all of our pages as well. Go follow Sorry in Advance podcast with Sean and Scott. They're another part of our network, and On Time Sports Talk with Eddie and Casey as well. They will be live Thursday. Sean will be, and then we'll be live tomorrow. Then we'll be back Wednesday. So we're excited about what we're doing here. It's been great. We love those two groups of guys. They put out really great stuff as well. So make sure if you don't follow them, go follow their stuff. They're on all platforms as well. Derek, if you have nothing else, man.
That's it, man. Great show, man. I'll see you Wednesday.
We'll be back Wednesday at 8:00, and we'll see y'all guys then.